From our studio located in Madison, New Jersey, this is Real Good News.
I'm like the man they call a seeker. I'm a real truth speaker, and I always cut right to the core. And you know I really ask, cause I get right to the facts and get the answer to what I'm looking for. I can pronto beg a lie, I'm a tireless and quiet. I've been a theorist thinker since my youth. My motive's on above ground. I've always been a bloodhound for the truth. The truth.
Welcome back to another episode of Real Good News. I'm Lisa Allen. Union County officials have released a new list of storm preparation tips to help residents stay safe during what has already been a dangerous summer storm season. The guidance comes just days after flash flooding caused widespread damage and multiple fatalities across the region. Residents are urged to take proactive steps before the next round of storms. These include clearing leaves and debris from storm drains near their property, securing outdoor furniture and trash bins, and checking flashlights and battery supplies. Officials recommend charging mobile devices and backup batteries in advance and keeping important documents in waterproof containers. Drivers are reminded, do not park under trees or in areas known to flood. It's also recommended to keep vehicles fueled and maintain a small supply of cash in case of a power outage. During the storm, residents should stay indoors and avoid driving through floodwaters and never attempt to cross large puddles or downed wires. Emergency services also emphasize the importance of checking on neighbors, particularly seniors and people with disabilities. The county urges the public to reserve 911 calls for true emergencies to avoid overwhelming response systems during severe weather. With additional storms possible, county officials stress that preparation now can make a major difference in keeping families safe and reducing damage later. Morris County marked a moment in history this weekend, honoring the 200th anniversary of General Marquis de Lafayette's return to the United States as the guest of the nation. This celebration took place on Sunday, July 14th in Morristown, the same town Lafayette visited exactly 2 centuries earlier during his 1825 farewell tour. The commemorative event included a parade, military reenactments, patriotic music, and a cannon salute to veterans. A new musical composition titled The Lafayette Suite had its world premiere performed by the Baroque Orchestra of New Jersey. County Commissioner Stephen Shaw, John Krikis, and Christine Myers presented an honorary resolution recognizing the efforts of the American Friends of Lafayette and other partners involved in organizing the event. The day concluded with a Regency-style ball at the historic Sansay House, creating the original banquet held in Lafayette's honor during his 1825 visit. Sunday's celebration was part of a series of events Morris County has hosted in anticipation of the nation's 250th anniversary in 2026. A new children's book is inspiring families in Madison to take action for the environment. How Can I Help introduces young readers to real-world conservationists and everyday ways they can protect nature, ranging from planting pollinator gardens to reducing plastic waste. Written to spark curiosity and action, the book emphasizes that even small steps can make a big difference. With engaging illustrations and a hopeful message, How Can I Help encourages kids to see themselves as capable stewards of the planet. The book is available for order through the Nature of Reading's bookshop in Madison and online, thenatureofreading.com. Morris County officials are urging residents to practice safe grilling as the summer season heats up, with July being the peak month of barbecue-related fires. They emphasize that both propane and charcoal grills should be used outdoors and positioned well away from homes, overhangs, and combustible materials. Keeping children and pets at least 3 feet from the cooking area and never leaving a grill unattended are key safety measures. For propane grills, users are advised to check tank connections for leaks before each season using a soap and water test. If gas is detected, the grill should be turned off immediately and inspected by a professional or the fire department. Charcoal grillers are encouraged to use chimney starters or electric charcoal starters instead of lighter fuel. If starter fluid is used, it should be charcoal specific and never added after ignition. Once cooking is done, coals must be fully cooled before disposal in a metal container. Additionally, all grill components should be cleaned regularly to prevent grease buildup and potential flare-ups. A gas grill lid must always be open when lighting, and long-handled tools are recommended to keep a safe distance from flames and from heat. With grilling being a popular summer activity, officials stress that following these precautions can help prevent injuries and house fires throughout the warmer months. Union County will host its annual Union County Means Business Expo this September, offering a vibrant in-person event for entrepreneurs, small business owners, and local professionals. Returning to the Warnaco Sports Center, the free public expo gives attendants the chance to explore local businesses, meet industry leaders, and enjoy complimentary tastings. Vendor participation is available via a $100 registration fee, which includes a color ad in the official program, and 10 VIP raffle tickets. Doors will open at 5 p.m. with exhibitor setup beginning at 2:30 p.m. The event is organized by the Union County Board of County Commissioners in collaboration with the Chamber of Commerce community organizations and area colleges. This expo is about fueling the energy, ideas, and ambition that drive Union County's economy, said Commissioner Chairperson Lourdes Leon. The event underscores the county's dedication to fostering business growth, networking, and new opportunities. Businesses interested in exhibiting must register by September 1st. County officials hope the expo will strengthen connections, stimulate local commerce, and empower entrepreneurs to expand their reach.
The New York Jets have decided.
The New York Jets have released a new documentary, EmpowHER, Jets Flag Elite, spotlighting the team's first ever girls flag football travel squad. Premiering June 16th, the film follows standout high school athletes from New Jersey and New York as they compete in their first season, with full support from the Jets, including uniforms, equipment, and tournament fees. The team's goal is to empower young women through football, and it all began here, right in Florham Park at the Atlantic Health Jets Training Center, where players and families attended a special screening with linebacker Quincy Williams. Since 2011, the Jets have led efforts to grow girls flag football, supporting over 5,000 athletes across 7 leagues. Now, they're helping shape a path towards college play and possibly the Olympics. Real Good News will continue to follow this inspiring local story, and you can watch the full documentary at newyorkjets.com. It's all premiered at the Jets Training Center in Florham Park, right here in Morris County, and that's also where the team is gearing up for the 2025 season. For more information on that, we go to Diane, who's got the details on Jets Training Camp.
Here at Real Good News, we're excited to introduce a new addition to our coverage, keeping a close eye on the New York Jets. Now, we know the Jets are a big league NFL team, but to us, they're more than that. They're a hometown story. Their year-round headquarters and training facility are right here in Florham Park, making them Morris County's very own team. This summer, the Jets opened their 2025 training camp at the Atlantic Health Jets Training Center, a 224,000 square foot facility surrounded by more than 100 acres of open space. Players report on Tuesday, July 22nd, and the first public practice takes place Friday, July 25th at 8:30 a.m. In total, fans will have 7 chances to attend open practices, including Saturday, July 26th, Thursday, July 31st, and Saturday, August 2nd, all starting at 8:30 in the morning. Additional public practices are set for August 7th, 19th, and 20th, with afternoon start times. Admission is free, but you'll need a ticket. Those are available through Ticketmaster, with early access windows for season ticket holders. Space is limited and tickets are expected to go quickly. Alongside the practices, fans can enjoy Jets Fest, featuring food, games, photo ops, the Jets shop, and a kids' autograph zone. A joint practice with the New York Giants will also be held on August 12th, though that session is for season ticket holders only. Parking for the public is located at Fairleigh Dickinson University, with free shuttle service provided to and from the practice field. Gates open 30 minutes before each session, and all guests will be screened at entry. And if you can't make it in person, the Jets are offering live streams of select practices through their website at nyjets.com.
Now, let's check in with Steve Lubekin at State Broadcast News.
Thanks, Lisa. New Jersey has a new pay transparency law with some new rules that employers need to know about if they have 10 or more employees. Joining us to talk about it is Elena Almeida, who is vice president at ADP, the big payroll company. Elena, tell us a little bit about what employers in New Jersey need to know about the new transparency law.
Absolutely. So I'll start with the kind of who, what, and when. So the new pay transparency law applies to New Jersey employers with 10 or more employees over 20 calendar weeks that do business, employ workers, take applications for employment in the state. So you have to have 10 or more employees over 20 calendar weeks. Now, those employers then have to disclose the hourly wage or the salary range and a general description of benefits and other compensation programs that the employee, a successful applicant would be eligible for in their first year. And all of this starts June 1st, 2025. All of this information has to be included in each posting for a new job, transfer opportunities that are advertised externally or internally.
What was the motivation behind New Jersey passing this law? Why do we need better transparency?
Yeah, so New Jersey is one of many states that are looking at ways to close the pay gap. Started in a lot of states looking to close a gap between men and women in terms of pay for equal work. Employers have looked at a lot of different ways to try to close this gap over the years. I mean, everybody has heard of things like the Equal Pay Act, and New Jersey has an equivalent Equal Pay Act. But it seems that no one particular legislative initiative has been successful in closing that gap. Pay transparency is a way to make sure that we're equaling the playing field of information between employers and employees. It gives applicants some leverage, some bargaining power, some more information that they can use to make sure that they're negotiating for a fair starting wage.
There are some new requirements for the way jobs are announced and posted. Why is that important?
So one of the things that people who study this have found is that we want to make sure that we're getting pay right from the start. So it's a lot harder if you have a pay gap. When you think about the impact to an individual over time, you have things like Equal Pay Acts that can address inequities later on. The point for the Pay Transparency Act and a couple of other types of laws is really to address that issue up front, right when somebody is starting out in a job. So we avoid having that gap to begin with and put people on a more equal playing field at the beginning. I think the other interesting thing that New Jersey's doing is they're making sure that that people get notice of promotional opportunities. So New Jersey has this notice requirement so that if you're going to be advertising a particular promotion, so an increase in salary or level, the company has to take steps to make sure that internal employees in that impacted department are notified of that opportunity. And I think this is really trying to address kind of tap on the shoulder promotions and make sure everybody has a fair shot for throwing their name in the ring for those jobs.
Now, there are a couple of carve-outs or exemptions in the law for consulting firms and temporary help firms. Why are they given the exemption in this case?
So a lot of that actually has to do with how those types of companies actually hire. So a lot of times those employers are looking to staff and have a roster of employees that would be able to fill certain roles. There might not be a specific role that they're trying to find somebody for, but they're trying to establish their roster. Once there is a specific role in play, right? So once the staffing agency, for example, has a specific role that they're trying to fill for, then these pay transparency and the notice requirements do actually come into play.
So as we approach June 1st, what are some of the things that employers need to start doing to get ready to ensure that they're in compliance with the new regulations?
Yeah, so this is a great opportunity actually for employers to kind of get their pay hygiene in order. So one of the things that we recommend is to look at their pay policy, think about how they're actually deciding what pay goes for what job, and is it a performance-based pay, or how are you deciding increases, and make sure that you have a philosophy. The other thing is maybe take a look at, I always kind of recommend that people do this with the aid of counsel, but do a pay equity audit. Look at your internal equity, which means thinking about your current employees who do a similar role and seeing if there's any differences in what you're paying those employees for similar work, and figuring out if those differences are justified. So not every disparity in pay for similar work is a problem, because sometimes those differences are justified by tenure or performance, or even like jurisdiction or location if someone's in a higher paying geography. So that's another thing I would recommend. Definitely update your job templates and your processes. So if you have a particular job posting form that you use when you're looking for new help, take a look at it, make sure that it includes the information about salary range and benefits for that particular job, just to have a space there to remind people who are hiring that they need to include that information. But then also, one of the things that I think most successful companies who are dealing with pay transparency across the country do, they have to train their HR, they have to train their hiring managers. They really have to think about teaching their managers and their HR professionals to talk about pay policy, to really think about and be able to explain, because this pay transparency sometimes does bring up challenging conversations from current employees, from new hires, or from applicants. You really want to make sure that the hiring managers and HR professionals understand your pay policy and are comfortable talking about it.
And for employers that have people working in multiple states, there's another layer of complexity as they have to, I guess, dovetail the New Jersey transparency requirements with requirements in other states. How's that going to work for them?
Absolutely. I think, a lot of New Jersey employers have actually been dealing with this for a little bit of time now, because, New York and Connecticut both have pay transparency laws. Actually, Jersey City has had a pay transparency law on the books for a while. So I think one of the challenges for employers is definitely trying to navigate and come up with a process that really allows compliance with all of those rules. They are a little different, right? So New York requires employers with 4 or more employees to disclose each job or promotion or transfer opportunity, to disclose the pay range. That's higher than the New Jersey rule. That's smaller. Sorry. So New York will actually require employers with 4 or more employees to disclose the salary range for each job or promotion or transfer opportunity. That is a lower number than the New Jersey law. So you have to think about, am I, as an employer, in a better place coming up with a law that complies with the most strict requirements of the New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut pay transparency laws? And that way I don't have to worry specifically about which jurisdiction, where the candidate lives, what I'm hiring for. A lot of employers have found success in just coming up with a single policy that will allow compliance with all of those jurisdictions.
Is there some place that employers can go for more information on how to ensure that they're in compliance with the law?
So there's a lot of good information out there. We have some great information on adp.com on our website, and we have a pay transparency hub which has good information. Always encourage people to talk to counsel and their business organizations, but some great information on adp.com if people want to look there.
That's great. Elena Almeida is Vice President and Counsel at ADP, the big payroll company here in New Jersey. Thanks for being with us on the program today.
Thank you.
That's it from here in Cherry Hill. Back to you, Lisa.
Looking for something fresh, local, and full of community flavor? Every Saturday, the Madison Farm and Artisan Market brings together growers, makers, and neighbors in the heart of the town, and it's become one of the area's favorite weekend traditions. For more on what makes this market so special, here's Diane with the story.
The market happens every Saturday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., now through December 13, at the Prospect Street parking lot on the corner of Kings Road and Prospect Street. It's a producer-only market, so everything you find is either grown or made locally. Fruits and vegetables, baked goods, crafts, and more. We spoke with a few of the vendors about what makes this market special and why they keep coming.
I'm Lindsay Laguna, owner and founder of Laguna Bohemia, and this is Bridget, a great team member that we have. So we're happy to be here. This is our second year doing this market. Right now we're selling our handcrafted gold, 14 karat gold filled beaded jewelry, bracelets, necklaces. We also have a charm bar over here, and then we also do the permanent jewelry. So just follow us at Laguna Bohemia, Instagram, Laguna Bohemia, and then we are online at www.lagunabohemia.com.
It's Hallie. I work with Love the Soup. So all of our soup is homemade by a couple in Morristown. Each soup is a spin-off of a classic, is a little bit more flavor, more twist. Our top three are lemon chicken orzo, our French lentil with tomatoes and Riesling, and our Thai coconut curry. Our bread we get from a baker that is near our shop over in Morristown. You know, a soup and bread combo, nothing like it. My favorite is probably the olive pockets. It's a focaccia with olives inside. It's really good. We are at lovethesoup.com. You can order online and pick it up at farmers markets. We do deliver locally, so make sure to get that soup.
It's Valetta's Dessert Emporium, which is like I do like different types of desserts, focaccia, sweet focaccia bread, and I get like different types of cookies, and a fresh French baked meringue with different flavors, and we have the really fudgy brownie, up to like the chocolate fudgy. It's they had to feed the dinosaurs, and if they got in, and then they get all treat. A little tricky sometimes. There you go. Get it. Now you get your little treat. Which one would you like? What? Yes, this one.
We'll continue checking in as the season goes on, right here on Real Good News.
Your ears are doing just fine if you're picking up on this next piece from none other than Alan Swanson.
July is Disability Pride Month. As with many awareness and pride months, there are symbols that are associated with that time. In this case, it consists of a flag with a series of colors. The colors stand for the following. The flag background is charcoal gray and stands for all those who have died or passed away because of their disability. The red stripe stands for physical disabilities. The gold stripe stands for neurodiversity. The blue stripe stands for emotional and psychiatric disabilities. The green stripe for sensory disabilities. And finally, the white stripe stands for undiagnosed or invisible disabilities. This year also marks the 35th anniversary of the enacting of the Americans with Disability Act. The ADA has revolutionized the accessibility and the ability of people with disabilities to take part in activities they previously could not easily access. Before I continue to the specific disability I want to focus on, I want to point out that most of us as adults, and particularly as we age, face physical and mental challenges. How many of us depend on our glasses to read, or have injuries, arthritis, aches and pains that affect our mobility? It's important for all of us to recognize the value of the ADA and awareness of disabilities. But today, I want to talk to you about the invisible disability of hearing loss or deafness. Hearing loss is frequently undiagnosed and, with very few exceptions, an invisible disability. What do I mean by this statement? First, undiagnosed. Many people with hearing loss are in denial or do not realize their hearing is impaired at all. Second, invisible. You are looking at the invisible disability of hearing loss right now. I have what would be considered a moderate to severe hearing loss. I say considered because hearing loss for every person is unique and the effects can vary. Some people just need to have higher volume. Some have discrimination issues, even when the volume is higher. We respond differently to background noise situations, which honestly is the worst part of my hearing loss. Background noise is a killer for my communicating in many environments. But I want to focus a bit more on the invisible aspect of hearing loss and what it means for people like me who are unfortunately progressively losing that hearing. When you see someone using a cane, that it shows that they are blind, you know it. You approach those people and react or accommodate your actions based on the needs of that person. Our society does exactly that and provides obvious accommodations for people with these visible impairments. We provide ramps for those with wheelchairs. We provide audio signals for visually impaired when crossing streets. Or when we see the cane, we do what's needed to assist the person. That is not the case for someone with significantly impaired hearing or even totally deaf. That was not always the case because accommodations for hearing loss have not always been as sophisticated as they are these days. Today, we have these high-tech hearing devices that are programmed to accommodate to the individual differences of us using them. I say differences because those of us with hearing loss respond differently to all of our day-to-day activities. But one thing is in common for all of us. You become far more isolated from people and much of what we experience. That isolation, I have to tell you, can be psychologically and exceedingly difficult to deal with, and it can be depressing. I wish I could explain more precisely what I mean, but as I've mentioned, each person with hearing loss is unique, as is their ability to cope with what they are missing. Here comes the advocacy part of my talk today. Because my disability is invisible to people, the accommodations that can be installed or used properly are not a priority for many people, businesses, governments, schools, and more. Let me give you an example. To navigate stairs, people in wheelchairs can usually find a ramp. Without that ramp, that person cannot take part in anything in the location at the top of the stairs. If we or officials find a missing or damaged ramp, it will quickly be fixed to be sure that they remain in compliance with the ADA. Let me tell you about what I experienced. I have been attending many town meetings for a number of years, with very few exceptions, because speakers do not know someone is in the audience with a hearing impairment. They do not use the amplification systems effectively. And someone like me misses much of what is being said. This kind of situation happens so often that those of us with hearing loss tend to write it off as another loss from our impairment. This is because how often can you say to people that you meet, "I can't hear you," or go to a meeting and shout from the back of the room, "I can't hear you." Hearing loss may be invisible, but it doesn't have to mean being unheard. As we celebrate Disability Pride Month and the 35th anniversary of the ADA, let's continue moving forward to a world where every voice matters and every person feels included. With growing awareness, better technology, and simple acts of kindness like speaking clearly, using a microphone, or just showing patience, we can break down the barriers of isolation. Together, we can create a more connected, compassionate community where everyone, regardless of their ability, has a place at the table and is in the conversation. I'm Alan Swanson. Thank you for watching.
We enjoyed having you, and we look forward to seeing you on our next episode on August 3rd. Until then, I'm Lisa Allen, reminding you that real good news is worth sharing.
Now, Allah is halfway around the world. For the truth can put on its pants. Tell the truth. So my mission without fail is helping truth prevail. You got to give the truth a fighting chance. Tell the truth. Beauty's truth, truth is beauty, and it's my civic duty to always write a reality. More than love, money, fame, more than rip on your good name.
Let me tell you something else about the truth. It will
Set you free on the road to truth you take. There's only two mistakes. Don't go all the way or don't even start.